Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Julie here again for part two of my two-part Facebook live training on the dangerous lie and what it is and how it is keeping many women in midlife, in perimenopause, from experiencing that flatter belly, that improved energy, less bloat, a clear, fresher mind, and getting our groove back. So welcome. I am going to give a few moments here just to see if we can get a few people to come on live and join us here. And so I will take a look at what is up. It is Friday, so the long weekend ahead. Does anyone have any fun plans for the long weekend coming up? Most kids are back to school and my daughter goes back next Tuesday. Starts kindergarten. That's pretty exciting. I love seeing all of the back to school pictures, by the way. All right, so I was just a couple minutes here before I get started. I'll get started right at 12:05. See if we can get anyone else to join in. If you are joining me here live, please, by all means, type live in the comments below. If you are going to watch this on the replay, please type replay. So if you've just joined me, I see I have somebody listening. By all means, let me know your name. Type your name in the comments. Please let me know where you are located. If I don't know where you're already located, that would be great. I'm just going to adjust my exercise ball here. So welcome. I'm really excited to share today, make this a shorter video, and I'm going to dive in then and remind people as we go of the comment box. So I'm going to dive in here. So today is part two. The juicy part, the what. So what? So we know now about the visceral fat. We know the biggest lie, which when it comes to women in perimenopause, let's preface that, is keeping us from experiencing that optimal health and that vision of ourselves that we'd like to feel and see. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Glad you could be here live. So today I'm going to share what we can actually do to begin shifting that. But before I do, I want to kind of put out there a thought to keep in your mind, and it is of dominoes. So if you've ever played dominoes or seen them, most of us probably have. You line your dominoes up and it's super fun because you touch one of the dominoes and then it makes the rest of them fall down too. That is kind of like what is happening. That's a great analogy to think about our hormones and our hormone responses. Almost nothing, virtually nothing happens without an effect or a response on something else, and often multiple things. So it's virtually impossible to affect any change without that affecting something else. So think of that domino approach. And often a small change will create that effect. And I'll get there when I share some of my favorite strategies to start implementing to get things shifting in the right direction. The second thing I want to say is to keep an open mind. And I say that with love because if you are listening or if you're watching this live or on the replay, and if you are, please type live or replay, then chances are there is something that you want to optimize in your own health, right? This group is for women over 40. Most of us going through perimenopause, some of us already in the menopause state. But we're here because there is something that we want. It could be the flatter belly. Maybe it's more energy. Maybe it's to improve our nutrition, to lose a few pounds, to feel more comfortable and at home in our bodies again, to feel less stressed, more in control, more creative, more inspired, more energized. And so all of these things that we want, if what we're doing is not bringing us closer to that goal, it's time to look at a new strategy. What happens in perimenopause is totally different than the situation and what we need in our 20s and 30s. I've explained that in my previous videos, and I just wanted to reiterate that. I think it's important to know that we are talking about this period of our journey in time, ladies, all right? That period of the perimenopausal state, which is normal, completely normal, and it happens to most of us, all of us. Maybe it's medically focused perimenopause or the natural perimenopause that happens without any medical intervention. Either way, our hormones change, things change. So keep that in mind as we go through this information, because as we look for ways to shift, we need to shift what we've been doing. So if you're just joining me here, please type your name. Let me know who you are, where you're located, so that I can chat with you back and forth. Having said that, I want to start with a little bit of an analogy. So I'm going to get to what my favorite tips are to help you. But I want you to think of this. This is powerful. And we're all women here, so let's get real. Would you share your IUD with your neighbor? Wow, people are like, I can't believe she just said that. Seriously, would you borrow, if, hey, you know what? My ID isn't working. Can I borrow yours? Your neighbor's probably going to look at you crazy, but chances are you're not going to ask that anyways. And why? Because that IUD is for your neighbor, for your friend, for whoever it is. It's not for you. It could very well cause a lot of damage, pain, discomfort, who knows what, if you try to use what has been intended for her. So our specific, unique approaches in perimenopause must be just that, specific and an approach for us. Okay? No two bodies are different, and no two people should fit into the same one size fits all program. So if something works for your friend, it may not work for you, and just know that. You're not doing anything wrong. There's things that you can do to support yourself better. Now, let's talk about what we need to do to shift things around. The first thing, this is critical, this is a non-negotiable in perimenopause, we need to reduce the cortisol. The second thing is we need to reduce the inflammation. And the third thing is we need to balance those hormones, right? Easier said than done. And so how do we do that? So there's some cool key things we can do. And again, sometimes if you want the result that you want, you have to be willing to let go of what no longer works and try a new plan. And this is the one time in our life, the new plan is what we need. So it comes down to this. We need to ditch the stress. We need to eat the right food for us at the right time. We need to get the right exercise for us at the right time. And we need to get the right sleep for us at the right time. Now, ditching the sugar is super important because it ties in to all three of those right plan phases. All right. It is an inflammatory for sure, and it can create a lot of inflammation, not to mention weight gain. And if we are already dealing with high cortisol levels, we are also very likely, remember the domino, dealing with higher insulin levels as well, and maybe even some insulin resistance happening behind the scenes. So that all sounds great, but how and why do we do it? What are some actionable things that we can do? And I'm going to explain some, but I wanted to share a story of how I personally applied this for myself and what happened. So I shared in part 1 on Wednesday how I was feeling depressed, bloated, gaining weight everywhere, especially on the belly. No matter what I did, even the healthy things I tried to do just made it worse, exacerbated. I gained more weight everywhere and became increasingly frustrated, suffering from decision fatigue. Oh my gosh, now what do I try? It's exhausting and overwhelming. My last ditch effort was to work out 5 days a week, go really, really hard, do what I used to do in CrossFit, thinking that all those extra workouts would help. It would create a calorie deficit. I would lose the weight. End of story. Not end of story. Beginning of the real story. So shifted the things, did less, achieved more success, more results, ditched some stress, came up with ways in my life I could turn things around to reduce that constant chronic stress. And it did wonders. Began to pay attention to what things in my life were affecting me. It is amazing what reducing sugar out of your daily coffee can do. And if you aren't sure of that or have done it, you know how powerful that is. Those simple things that we do more of or less of have powerful impacts. So let's talk about the how, because when I did less, when I finally got over my own, took myself out of the way because I was standing in my path. I was blocking the way to progress because of what I thought I knew, what I believed was the truth. And we know now, thanks to the dangerous lie, it's not about doing more and trying to eat less calories. Calories don't run the show. The hormones do. Okay, that's important to know. You can diet and restrict your calories all you want. In perimenopause, that may be the very worst thing that you can do for your situation. So anyways, doing less, the right exercise at the right time for me, based on what physiology, science, studies of women in midlife tell us, and the rest was history. So one of the things that I did was I reduced the amount I was doing, because again, if our day feels like a 24-hour workout already, and in my case, I was helping clients, lifting heavy weights, shifting weight plates around, picking up dumbbells, putting them down, demonstrating for them. I was getting workouts every day. Then I was expecting my body to rise to the occasion. And all it did was get exhausted, more sore, more depleted, gaining more weight, having poorer sleeps, etc., etc. And some of you may be able to relate. If you can relate to that, maybe just type in relate, okay? If you try doing things you did that are no longer working, but you keep doing them thinking that, well, maybe they'll work next week or maybe they'll work next month, okay? I'm going to give you permission to try something new. So if you can relate to that, just type relate in the comments. Let's move on. So in a nutshell, we get the right food, we get the right sleep, and we get the right exercise. But what does that look like? Well, this is where the fun part comes in, because that may look different for every single person. There are overlapping themes depending on your history, your hormone makeup, where you are at right now. So the first thing you can do, and one of the most concrete steps you can take, is to actually get your hormones tested. That is a phenomenal step, so that it's like looking at a map, okay? So it's like being lost in a huge city. And I've never been to Mexico City. I'm told it's absolutely huge, massive population. So imagine getting plunked in the middle of Mexico City without a map. You've never been there. You know how to read street signs. You may understand the language, be able to speak the language and speak to people, but you have no idea how to get from this street to the street you want to go to. You don't have a map. Same is true for a lot of women when they're trying to navigate this right food, right sleep, right exercise. They may have an idea of what to do. You may too, and raise your hands if you do. Comment in the comment section if that makes sense to you, but you're not quite sure how to put it all together, how to get from point A to point B. Okay? So some of the things that we can begin doing though are, number one, we can look at things like not drinking our calories. Okay? That is a simple step that for many people is going to drastically cut that intake of sugar down. So not drinking your calories, okay? It's not all about the calories. It's about the quality and the type of things that we either are or are not putting into our body. So maybe you just do black coffee. Maybe you have a splash of a non-dairy creamer, and that's enough. The second thing we can do is cutting out as much of the prepared fast food or packaged foods that we're currently eating. That can be as simple as one meal a week, changing from pulling something out of the freezer that's pre-made and cooking it from scratch. Changing one thing a week when it comes to your meals. If you typically order in 2 to 3 times a week, order in once or twice a week. Skip that third. So these are some concrete steps you can begin making to shift things. The third, and one of the easiest things for me personally, is to go to sleep earlier. Go to sleep earlier, 15 minutes earlier, okay? And beyond that, here's a big tip. I highly recommend, if you're serious about starting to tune in and become more conscious of where you are and make some serious long-lasting changes, okay, beyond the initial couple weeks or month, beyond that, lasting sustainable changes, keep a little journal around or a book where you can start to record when you're getting tired every day. When do you naturally want to wake up every day? How are your sleeps? What are you doing or eating within the last couple hours before you go to bed at night? Write down what you eat, what you do, and what you don't do, and keep track of that over the course of 1 or 2 weeks to see, have you noticed a pattern? When I do this, I don't sleep well. When I didn't do this, I had a great sleep. When I went to bed at 10, I naturally woke up at 7 feeling rested. When I went to bed at 11 and I woke up at 7, I didn't feel rested, okay? So start to pay attention to what your body needs. Now, if this is making sense, whether you're watching it on the replay or whether you're live with me, please just click makes sense, okay? Makes sense in the comments. So getting more sleep can be huge. Not drinking your calories can be huge. Preparing one extra meal a week from scratch can be huge. Let's talk about movement. If you are a 5, 6, 7 days a week worker outer right now, I'm going to recommend that you take 1 or 2 of those workouts off of your roster and instead have a more strategic rest day. Give your body, give your mind, give your everything, your hormones, a rest. All right, I'm going to recommend that as well. depending on your symptoms, you may want to do a little experiment. Instead of working out late day, after work, evening, all right, and you're struggling with sleep or staying late, always tired, you may want to, for an experiment, take 1 or 2 weeks. I recommend 2. The more data we get, the better. Shift your workouts into the morning. And again, there may be some discomfort in making those changes, but if those changes is a temporary discomfort and pays off by actually helping you feel better, shifting the hormone balance in the right direction, helping you see changes, losing the belly fat, making the measurements get smaller, then it will have been worth it. So I recommend you look at that as well. The other thing I would recommend is women specifically, if you are doing lots of high intensity cardio every week, all right, again, that could be 4, 5, 6 days a week. If you have more than an hour all said and done of high intensity cardiovascular type of movement, I'm going to recommend you look at reducing that and bringing it down to less than an hour a week, which gives you permission to free up more space through your day, to be less stressed, and have shorter, more impactful workouts. If you are sore, if you find it hard to recover, if you do not feel energized 2 hours after your workout and you still feel like destroyed, exhausted, that is a good sign that something needs to shift, all right? The other thing I would like to, so we've talked about doing maybe less workouts. Now, on the other side of that, ladies, if you're not working out at all right now, here is something that I am going to recommend for all women in perimenopause. If you do not own a set of dumbbells, get yourself a set of light dumbbells, or at a minimum, a set of mini bands or resistance bands, and start using them. Now is an absolutely critical time for you to get that resistance training, also known as strength training. And if you're not currently doing it, you start off gently with body weight. And there are strategies as to how many reps, how often, how long, what it should feel like, that will literally skyrocket your success in the right direction. I cannot underestimate what a proper, strategic, custom exercise fitness plan of movement will do for your results. Huge. That, with sugar and sleep, magical combination. And I would be remiss to not mention the next thing on this hit list for change is increase your protein. Peanut butter is not a protein, FYI. Increase your protein. Now, here's the rub. People say, well, I eat meat, I eat chicken, I eat turkey. I have a very plant-based diet. I get my protein. I have a lot of this, that. But how much are you getting? Step 1 is knowing where you are. Do you have data about how much protein you have? Do you have a plan for how much protein you eat? Do you know when you eat it? Do you know that there is literally a magical strategy for protein? Do you know what that is? How often a day that is? How spread out that is? Okay, if not, that is a huge, huge game changer in your how to shed belly fat, improve your energy, and get your groove back plan. Huge. Sleep, protein, strength training. That's the magical combination. Okay. And again, when it comes to strength training, the goal is not to go and spend 45 minutes or an hour thinking that's what you need to do. Because remember, there is conditioning. Old conditioning tells us we need to work out for an hour. Okay. No burn. What was that saying? Feel the burn. Okay. You want to feel the fatigue. And a great weight training session should not be an hour long. If you need that long to get to muscle fatigue, there's opportunities to improve that, to make it shorter and more effective. Okay, which frees up your time in the day to do more, to have more stress relief, and to give your body more rest. At this point in time, our bodies need much more rest than most women think. So start to track everything. If I leave you with one thing, it's going to be this. Have a little notepad or a big notepad or something, and every single day, I want you to start to track. What are you doing for your movement? How long did it take? What exactly was it? How did you feel after? 2 hours after that activity, did you still feel re-energized? Or are you down for the count? How long does soreness last, if you get any soreness at all? How are you sleeping? And a note on sleeping, I'm going to also recommend that you start to remove all of your devices. For optimal sleep, 2 hours before sleep. Still get great benefit, at least an hour before sleep. No tablets, no TV, no phone, no social media scrolling, nothing. An hour before bed. And make sure that you have all of those blue light sources out of your bedroom, including your phone, at least an hour before bed, okay? So that you can let the mind start to unwind, calm the brain, let the natural hormones that tell us we are tired, it is time to go to bed and rest now, kick in. Some of those things we do, staying up too late, watching the movies, scrolling through our phones, stimulate us to the point where we no longer feel that natural tired prompt. So I recommend start to listen in to those prompts. If you start getting tired at 7 o'clock at night, don't ignore it. Instead, listen to the signs that your body is giving you. It is trying to speak to you. And once you can eliminate all of those things, the static that is smoke screening around you, you'll be able to tune in to what that wisdom is and what your body is telling you. I'll tell you this and leave you with this. It is not normal to feel tired and fatigued all the time. It is not normal to feel sore all the time. It is not normal to wake up and not feel rested. What is normal, okay, is working with your body's hormones, feeling nourished, feeling craving free, feeling mobile, energized, creative, inspired, motivated, comfortable in your body. All right. If any of those things are not happening for you, it is your body, your life saying, hey, Julie, I really, really, really love you. And there's some things that we could be doing here to improve and optimize things. All right. So let's just talk about this in a nutshell. So some of the concrete things you can do: start weight training if you haven't. Okay, just to review. Stop drinking your calories. Start collecting data on how everything makes you feel, from food to sleep to fitness. Okay, collect the data, keep track. Take away a workout or two a week if you're doing too much and not seeing muscle tone changes, weight loss changes, or energy improvements. If you're not doing anything, start to add gentle weight training in and keep that intense cardio to less than an hour, all said and done through the week. Okay. And then finally, think of swapping out those fast foods or the ordering in or the pre-made meals for at least one homemade, home cooked, from scratch meal with real ingredients a day. And last but not least, increase your protein. Increase your protein. And if you need support or help in what any of these things are, again, if you feel like I've just thrown you in the middle of New York City, if you've never been there, or Mexico City or Calgary City, and I'm asking you now to find your way out of town without a map, then reach out, okay? Because the difference in being successful is often having that plan that works for you. But I encourage you to try those ideas. I will put together a quick PDF on that, and if you'd like it, you can comment below. Please send me the PDF. I'd be happy to send you the PDF. If you want to learn more about specific programs for you and how you can integrate it all, how you can make all of those the dominoes work for you, reach out. That's what I'm here for, guys, and I'd love to help you glue all of those pieces together. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to say whether you're watching this live or on the replay. I would really appreciate that. And stay tuned for more information to help you on your getting your groove back journey. Have a wonderful long weekend.